Have you heard the other experts talk about like just pay off debt, pay off consumer debt at whatever cost? Do what you can, cut expenses, no matter as much as you can, just to get out of debt. Well, they're not wrong that you should get out of debt, but the way they go about it is entirely sabotaging you and your finances. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk about the shift that you need to make. It's a really simple shift, but if we don't make this shift, then you're sabotaging your finances as well. So, let's do this. All right, if you're ready to eliminate stress, struggle, frustration, and guilt within your finances so you can create the happiness, long-term wealth, solid family life, and financial security that you deserve, the long-term wealth you deserve, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Cerka. Can you believe it? We're already on episode 7. So today we're going to talk about your debt payoff plan and why your debt payoff plan isn't serving you. So your debt payoff is important. Let's start with that, okay? It is important that we should be working to get out of consumer debt. There is good debt and bad debt to have. It's smart. We still need to make sure that we're maintaining a credit score that is a good credit score, because unfortunately, with the way things are structured in life, we really have to have a credit score, and a decent credit score. It's going to open things up. Even if you're not financing things, your credit score also affects other things like your insurance rates. Just so you know, side note there, right? But that debt payoff focus is not serving you. And let's just kind of dive into why, okay? So majority of the time you hear pay off debt, pay off debt, pay off debt. Do whatever you can to pay off debt, okay? The reason it doesn't work is really the mindset behind it. So the thought process there when they tell you to do that is because they're trying to get you to make that progress within your finances as fast as possible. But the problem is those habits that you're doing, they're not sustainable long-term. That whole, like we get on a diet and then we fall off the diet, like, right? Who else has done that before? We went on a diet and within a couple of weeks we fall off, or maybe you successfully complete the diet, but after the diet period is over, whatever time frame, like you were like, oh, I'm going to do this for 3 months. After 3 months, like the whole time, all you can think about is your favorite sweet, which for me would probably be like a baked treat. I'm not like a chocolate fudge person, but like some cake or cookies, those are more up my alley, right? So that's what I would be thinking about. So when the diet ends, we eat all that stuff. And then we've all heard of the yo-yo effect. You yo-yo back from where you were, you lose all that progress and often end up in a worse situation than you were previously. Now, why does this happen? Because what we focused on is what we achieved. So when you're in that diet and you're focusing on what you get when you're done with it, where's the treats and all of that stuff, then that's what we got, because that's what we focused on. When you train yourself and you train your subconscious to focus on get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt, if you're successful, because majority of people aren't, then within 5 years, you end up back into debt. It's 75% end up back into debt within 5 years. And the reason is because we've told ourselves, get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. So when you're out of debt, if you succeed, then your subconscious is still saying, get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. But wait, there's no debt to get into. So then you go into debt again, just so you can try and focus on get out of debt, because that's what you've programmed your subconscious to do. So, like, what the heck do we do now? Kind of feels like we're setting ourselves up for failure. Well, the answer is simple. And the month that we put this into practice, we saw an increased return that month by making that switch. There wasn't any extra income. Like the income that we were putting towards our debt payoff stayed the same. but we saw an immediate increase in what we were doing and the results we were receiving within our finances. You ready for what the switch was? We focused on our net worth, because your net worth is the long-term game. As you pay off your debt, you're going to improve your net worth. As you increase money in your savings accounts, as you increase your investment portfolio, as you invest in a cryptocurrency, as you do whatever add value in your life insurance policy, all of these things all positively affect your net worth. So yes, as you continue to use, for most of our clients, we use a debt roll down method for our debt. And that's the one I use personally. So as you continue to roll down your debt, you're going to make that progress and your net worth is going to increase. So it's not that we're just forgetting about our debt. It's still there. It's just not our focus. We are focused on the abundance that we have, the abundant part that we are looking to grow. We cannot focus on a negative thing. Like, even when you say debt, you can hear the negative energy behind it. So focus on your net worth. As you pay off your debts, you're going to improve your net worth. As you grow your assets, you're going to improve your net worth. It's a really simple switch, but it's so game changing. Okay. If you don't know what your net worth is, your net worth, just a quick overview, is your assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. So for example, if you have a vehicle, I think most of us probably do have vehicles. The asset part of the vehicle would be how much the vehicle is worth. Kelley Blue Book is great. This is normally what I use to calculate the worth of my vehicle. How much you still owe on it is the liability, which helps show if that's a positive asset for you or if you're upside down in it. Credit card debts, medical debts, all of those things are liabilities. Your mortgage is a liability. The value on your house be considered an asset for our net worth perspective. Now, cryptocurrency, one that we had forgotten about until recently, was the value on our rings. I have an insurance policy on our rings. My husband and I's rings, and the renewal notice came in the mail, and it was just kind of like, wait a second, like this asset that we wear on our hand, it still has value to it because of the diamonds in it. So it's still part of our assets. So then we went back and added the furnishings in your home are technically part of your assets. Now I have a plug and play worksheet for you. I'll make sure the link is included for you in the show notes if you want to check out and grab that net worth worksheet. It's really simple. I mean, it's literally the one that I use. So I think it works, but the part that I want you to get is your debt payoff is not serving you. Okay. We need to focus on our net worth. So let's see, we've made the switch to focusing on net worth. You're going to calculate your net worth. If you've never done it before, this is something that I also recommend we do on a monthly basis as part of your month end process. If you get stuck and need to see momentum, this is a great thing to check on, because especially once you've started to do it, you're going to see the momentum faster. And when you are stuck in that negative place, the best thing to do is see the progress that you've made. A side note, another thing that I check or track on my net worth sheet that I can't remember if that's on the actual one that we've included. I'll have to check this. But I track our progress over 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. So sometimes, we have a rough month, and it's not even necessarily that it's a rough month. It's that we used that financial security and those assets and the things that we put away to take care of things that we needed to. So we were able to do that. Like, that's a big thing. Putting a couple months ago, we had to put about $2,000 into one of the vehicles on car maintenance. So we were able to do that because it was set aside in the auto savings fund. But technically our net worth took a hit of $2,000 because that cash was no longer sitting in that savings fund. So you see how, like, sometimes it might drop for a little bit, but if you're looking at what the progress was over 30, 60, and 90 days, you're going to see the true progress of how far you've came. The one that I use is in Excel. It's an Excel spreadsheet. So there is a tracking from like year to date, how much progress we've made. I have to say that number's pretty crazy. Like, I don't even know that I could have imagined that, knowing where our income is at. Now, if our income had like skyrocketed, okay, maybe. But we actually took like an income cut this year. and how much progress we've still made because of the systems we put in place. This was game changing. Okay. And then let's kind of briefly talk through what a debt roll down is if you haven't used a debt roll down before. So there's a couple different of debt payoff methods out there. So what a debt roll down is, though, is we're going to list all of our debts in order from smallest to largest is typically the better way to do it. You can do it either way, but smallest to largest, I think, is the easiest for me to explain like this. So what you'll do simply is make your normal minimum monthly payment on everything. So when you pay off that smallest debt, you're going to take the amount that you were paying on that debt, and then you're going to apply it and apply the normal minimum monthly payment on the second smallest, plus the amount that you had paid on the smallest. So we're rolling down the amount here and continuing to grow. It's going to kind of create a snowball. Snowball effect is another way that it's been described. Just a quick note, if you can add extra money to your debt roll down each and every month, that's fantastic. Another great use of that would be to do like one-time payments when you receive like IRS refund. I'm trying to think what else we've gotten, the stimulus checks, those type of things, or maybe you're getting a disbursement of some other kind. So using a percentage of that to pay off debt can be a great idea. I'm sure we'll talk all about like best use of tax refunds a little closer to tax return time, but it's a really smart thing to do. Then if you have two debts that are similar in the amounts that you owe, always list the one with the higher interest rate first. And sometimes I kind of move things around because like medical debt doesn't have interest charged on it. So for me, I would rather pay off the one, if it's similar, I'd rather pay off the one that has the interest on it than I would the one that doesn't. And I also will take into consideration monthly payments there, but it kind of varies, right? Like all personal finance things, it varies and it depends on your personal situation and your personal preferences, your personal priorities, all of those things, right? Like I feel like we say this all the time, like this is the situation, but I don't know. It really depends on what's going on. And that's not to just be vague. It's really about making this situation work for you, because it isn't a cookie cutter system. That's not what we're selling here. There are people out there who do sell that, and that's fine. But for me, I want to be able to have finances and a life that's aligned to my values. That's why this show is called Your Money, Your Life. Like that is the whole point of this here. So I think that is it for today. We just brief overview. We talked about how your debt payoff plan was not serving you, that focus on your debt payoff plan wasn't serving you. We talked about making the switch to your net worth, how to calculate your net worth, and then briefly talked about your debt, how to set up a debt roll down, the debt roll down method, and how to utilize that in your finances. So today, I want to send me a message on Instagram once you've listened that, do you know what your net worth is? Have you calculated this before? Is this something that you're going off to do? And what you find, a lot of times we're either pleasantly surprised and we're motivated to go do more, or it kind of is terrifying. And then we kind of get the kick in the pants that we need to go get to work, figure something out, right? So once you've figured that out, where your net worth is at, if you've done this before or not, send me a message on Instagram. I can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on the Your Money, Your Life podcast. Bye for now. This episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast is brought to you by Money Masters Inner Circle. Do you struggle with stress, frustration, and knowing what to do with your finances? Or have you taken action to create financial security for you and your family that you spend so much time on, and you still haven't achieved that peace and confidence with your money? You're not alone. It happens all the time, and I'm here to help. Inside Money Masters Inner Circle, you'll receive bite-sized, implementable, up-to-date training as we work together to give you confidence, prosperity, and financial security personalized to you, your goals, your priorities, and your values. If this is something that you want to learn more about, text Inner Circle to 817-969-4653. And of course, that link is hanging out in the show notes as well.